Ben from Design3 here. I'm talking with Schwartz of Owlchemy Labs, talking about their game Smuggle Truck. My first question, when did you first start playing video games, and what are some of your favorite video games of all time?
So, I was raised in a family where a lot of the background in our family was about tech. So my father owned a music store, which eventually turned into an Apple store. So the Mac Classic, when it started to drive MIDI devices, it went more toward computers and more toward computers. We phased out the music and it turned into a computer store. So I was raised in that kind of Apple retailer. I was like selling Mac laptops to people when I was 10. So that's kind of how I was brought up. My mom's a music teacher, so a lot of creativity. So that tech and that art kind of came together. And I went to school for game development and graduated and been doing like indie games ever since.
So can you tell us about the current game project you're working on?
Yeah, sure. The game we're working on right now is Smuggle Truck. And it's actually a funny story. We had a friend who was trying to immigrate legally to the US. And over about a year and a half, we learned about how difficult it is to actually get a visa to come to the US. We had no idea that it was such a pain in the ass. And that, if you don't have family here or you don't have a job lined up, then you can't just come and make indie games. There's no visa for making indie games. And so we struggled and struggled, and he finally got into the country, but we said, how can we make a game that kind of spoke to our experiences for the last year? And so it's like, well, we could do an educational game or a serious game, or we could do something like Smuggle Truck and kind of see how much awareness we could bring up about this fact. So that's kind of what we did, and the press has been picking up on it, and it's kind of been working out.
Awesome. So what is a typical day of game development work like for you?
So right now I work from home, and so I kind of roll out of bed and I'm in a home office, which is good and bad. I worked in AAA for about a year and a half, so like a big studio, 80 people, 90 people, and so I had like an hour commute back and forth, and that was kind of wearing me down, and I felt like the indie scene was much more like in my style. So I kind of left that and went back to two-man team development. So really, the day is I wake up and I start working on the game, and I have to rip myself away from it to eat or to have lunch or to eat dinner, and then kind of do as much as I can on the game in one day and go to sleep and do it all over, because we love what we do and we just kind of cram as much in one day as possible.
Right. And can you tell us a little bit about some of the software you use when you're making your games?
Yeah. So Smuggle Truck and the past, I think, 4 games I made have all been in Unity. And I think in about 2008, my friend and I, we started looking at Unity, and we said, wow, this is absolutely amazing of what we can do. And it's not like, I think I'm a big fan of not having to rewrite or reinvent the wheel. And so with Unity, you can start off with a physics engine, with a sound engine, with kind of everything there, and you don't have to build all this infrastructure to start saying, okay, how will this game play out? Like, we could just start writing gameplay code right off the bat. So I think that's good for me. I know a lot of engineers who would rather spend a couple months building a custom engine to do something, and it's just something I'm not interested in. I'm rather just do some gameplay.
So what advice would you give to people who want to get started in video game development and want to start making their own games?
So I think the big thing is some people kind of say oh man, I need experience to try to get a job in the game industry, but to get a job in the, experience is required for getting a job, yet how do I get the experience if I can't get the job? And I think the key is you have to just start making stuff. And so there are a lot of opportunities now, especially with the indie scene. You could do independent works on your own. There's modding groups where you could take a game, an established game, and make a new level for it. So getting that kind of stuff on your portfolio right off the bat, I wish I had started doing that in high school. I wish, with all the time that I had in high school after I got out of school, I was, spending that time on building levels or writing code or teaching myself independently. And I think that's the best you can do, is to just sit down and find what you're interested in and just do it. And then people will take notice that's on your portfolio, and that in your own time, you're taking your time to do something you're passionate about. That'll get you the job.
Brings me to my final question, kind of more on the fun side. If you had to sum up video game design and development in just one word, what would that one word be?
Oh man, I think for us it's got to be bad puns, because our whole company name is based off a bad pun, and Smuggle Truck is just really silly, and so there you go. Make a bad pun, it might make a fun game.
All right, thanks a lot, Alex.
All right, thanks.